Today we're going to look at multiplying decimals. How we're going to do this is first off, just ignore that there's a decimal in the number completely. Just act like it's whole numbers. Then we're going to multiply just like we would if they're whole numbers. After you've multiplied, you're going to count how many numbers are behind the decimal. After you find your product, start at the right of the answer and move it to the left. Let's look at some examples of how we're going to do this. This first number is 2 4/10 times 1 3/10, but we're going to look at it as 24 times 13. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 1 is 7. Going to add a 0 for our placeholder. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 2 is 2. Then we're going to add them just like we do. 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 4 is 11. And 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, if we look at these numbers, the first one, 2 4/10, has one number behind the decimal. 1 3/10 also has one number behind the decimal. We know that 1 plus 1 is 2. So in our product, we're going to have to move 2 spaces to the right. So we're going to start all the way over here and move 2, 1, 2, which makes our answer 3 12/100. If you look at the second example, the number reads 7 20/100 times 4/10, but we're going to look at it as 720 times 4. 0 times 4 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 7 is 28. Now, if you look at this number, 7 20/100 has 2 numbers behind the decimal. 4/10 has one number behind the decimal. 2 plus 1 is 3. So we're going to start over here all the way to the right, and we're going to move 1, 2, 3 spaces. This number now reads 2 880,000. Now we're going to take a look at dividing the decimals. First, we're going to move the decimal in the divisor to the right until it becomes a whole number. Then you're going to move the decimal in the dividend the same amount of places. Divide normally, then bring the decimal and the dividend up to the quotient. So let's take a look at how we're going to do that. My first example is 1 6/10 divided by 4/10. So we're going to take 4/10 and make it a whole number. So if we move this decimal over to behind the 4, it now becomes a whole number. We're also going to do the same thing over here. Now we're just looking at the number as 16 divided by 4, which is a whole number of 4. Pretty simple. Now we're going to do the same thing over here. This number is 2 68/100 divided by 2/10. Let's make this 2 a whole number, so we're going to move the decimal behind the 2. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. We've moved it one spot over here, so we're going to move it one spot right there. Now we're going to see 2 will go into 2 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Two will go into 6 3 times. Then 2 will go into 8 4 times. We're going to take this decimal, move it right up here to the top, and we get our answer, which is 13 4/10.